Welcome to The Human Element, presented by Whisk. I'm your host, Barb Biden, and in each episode, I sit down with CHROs and senior HR leaders to explore how AI, innovation, and human insight are reshaping the future of HR. We'll explore how technology is reshaping leadership, strategy, and the role of HR by sharing candid stories, practical ideas, and strategic perspectives to help you shape the future. The Human Element is brought to you by Whisk, the leader in agentic HR and creator of Harper, the world's first AI HR generalist. Learn how Harper can resolve up to 80% of routine HR tasks autonomously. Learn more about Whisk at whisk.com. Welcome to The Human Element, presented by Whisk, where we explore how AI and human insight are reshaping leadership and the future of HR. Our guest today is Angela Briggs-Page, the Chief People Officer at Acelero Learning, a national organization dedicated to expanding access to high-quality early childhood education. Angela leads people strategy, organizational development, culture, DEI, and L&D to improve outcomes for children and families. I'm excited, Angela, to talk to someone who's building people strategy and culture to support such expanded access to early childhood education. I think this is going to be a great show today and a different and unique perspective from some of the guests that we've talked to in the past. So thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm looking forward to this conversation.
I am too. So let me dive right in and see where this takes us. Where has AI-driven automation made the biggest dent in administrative HR work within your team today?
That's such a good question. I think the biggest impact AI has had for us at Acelero isn't probably what most people expect. So I think that, yes, we've talked about how we're automating onboarding and how we're automating case management and HRIS workflows. But I think when we think about AI and how great the impact has been, it's really about how we listen to our people. So we run surveys every quarter, quick, honest check-ins to understand how our employees are really doing. And we know that's so important, especially now. We want to know what's working, what's breaking, where they need support. And they tell us everything, which is great. The problem was that it used to bury us. We had thousands of comments, and there's no way that we could get to all those comments and be able to provide a readout in a timely session. So before we were able to read all of the comments, and it would take weeks, it was time to launch the next survey again. So AI really helps us understand what people are saying within hours instead of waiting for weeks. And it doesn't just count the words. It picks up on tone. It picks up on emotion. It even spots patterns that we might have missed. So it really helps us keep track of also shifts over time, the momentum of the organization over time. So we're just not reading what people are saying. We're seeing how that's changing. But the reality is we still do the listening, right? We still read all the comments. AI just helps us clear the noise so we can focus on what really matters. And that's the story behind the data. So we're not waiting for months to respond anymore, right? There's nothing worse than someone taking a survey and then not seeing any action on that. Leaders have the time to have conversations in real time while the feedback is still fresh. And that's how we continue to build trust when we think about our employee listening strategy. So we're really excited about that.
Totally. I mean, we all can remember the days of tagging survey comments thematically, and I'm sure we were doing a lovely job, but AI is making quick work of that and probably doing a much more consistent job than we ever were able to. So the nuances you must be gleaning from that must be fantastic. And the turnaround time, there's no denying, right? Like people want to see quick action when they've provided you feedback, and that's an important tool to encourage them to continue to give you feedback, is that they see that action. consolidation. Have you been doing anything, Angela, to redeploy the capacity that you've gained back from not having to completely pour over the survey results in the ways that we used to? Are you directing that capacity within your team towards anything fun?
Yeah, well, we're trying to figure out how do we design experiences that matter instead of focusing on manual coding of spreadsheets and analysis. So for us, it's about how do we design onboarding that doesn't feel like paperwork hell, right? But really feels like a genuine welcome and you feel this personal sense of belonging. We're also focusing on coaching and development and career pathway conversations that happen more than once a year. So we're really trying to figure out what matters to you, what makes the people team can still feel human, and really focus our energies on doing that. So it really gave us more time and clarity to be more human. It freed us up to really do what actually helps our people, and that's listening and responding and being present. So it's really helped us improve the employee experience at Acelero.
That's awesome. I know that you must do a lot of hiring. I'm super curious about how you're thinking about AI to strengthen hiring and staffing. When I think of hard to find talent or screening for folks who align with the mission of an organization or forecasting staffing across like a really large footprint, how are you using AI in the hiring space?
Listen, early childhood hiring is definitely not for the faint of heart because you're not just filling positions, you're inviting people into purpose-driven work that's emotionally demanding and, let's be honest, chronically under-resourced. And this is so important for me because I am a Head Start alumni. I'm a Head Start kiddo. So we want to make sure that we are bringing in people that are so aligned to our mission. And adding all that up with everything else, we're competing with Target, with Amazon's, with the Starbucks, companies paying $18 an hour with benefits where nobody bites you during your shift, right? So the candidate pool is small, burnout is so real, and there can be no more posting and praying on Indeed. That strategy is not working anymore. So for us, the question was and remains, how can AI help us find the right people faster without losing the heart in the process? So we have designed AI to actually help us in terms of screening for the baseline stuff, right? Do they have the credentials? Do they have the compliance requirements? Do they have the right experience levels? Does the person have their CDA? Are they eligible to work? Do they meet the state licensing requirements? And that's what AI handles for us. We know those boxes have to be checked before we can even have a conversation. But this is where we jump in. We say AI recommends, humans decide, right? That's our golden rule. So AI can flag someone and tell us whether or not they meet the minimum qualifications, but it doesn't make the hiring decisions. It can't tell us if someone has the heart for this work. It can't pick up the warmth in someone's voice when they talk about why they want to work with children, right? It can't sense when the person will show up for our families in the ways that matter most, especially now. So that's why we use it just to be able to do some screening. And of course, we also use it to help us write better job descriptions, targeted interview questions, really trying to make sure that our job postings actually sound like us. They're values driven, they're inclusive, they're mission aligned, but we make the hiring decisions, but it does help us alleviate some of that manual effort.
Yeah, it sounds like all of the things that help you get to those great hires faster. It's the getting the manual workout. I loved the AI recommends and humans decide. So AI gets you there faster so you can decide and really select those candidates that have that mission alignment that you were talking about. So important with
Absolutely.
educators.
Yeah,
For
because
sure.
it really helps our recruiters tell the story behind, build that relationship and connect our mission to their motivation. So it really is, how are we getting to know candidates as people?
Something I feel like I haven't talked with enough other guests about, and I'm so excited to have you on, AI playing a role in tailoring learning pathways? So we just haven't touched on learning in another episode so far. So I'm curious what role AI playing in things like learning pathways, coaching, leadership development, either for educators or leaders or other team members within Acelero.
I love this because this is where I am so energized. So we're in the early stages of piloting AI to build personalized learning plans for our employees and our leaders. And I'll be honest, we're not claiming to have it all figured out. We're literally just starting that. We built a bot. We're seeing how it works. We're experimenting. We're still listening. But it's promising, right? We know the old model of professional development was one size fits all, right? Everyone goes to the same training at the same time, regardless of experience or learning style. AI is letting us change that story. So imagine this, a system that looks at your role, they have your job description, they look at your goals, and even the feedback that you've gotten. And then it curates a learning path that fits your exact growth needs. So if you're a leader working on coaching, it might serve up micro learnings as feedback conversations or even connect you with a peer mentor. So I'm so excited about this. So we're not measuring success yet in percentages. We're still looking for the early signs. Are people engaging more with the content? Are they saying the response that I got back actually fits me? Are leaders referencing their learning in team meetings or performance conversations? How are they making sure that there's value in what they're getting? And that's what we're working on. And that's how we'll know that we're onto something. So I feel like right now we're building a culture of curiosity in terms of how this can work and how this can, again, improve the experience of our people, start being a daily practice with our people leaders. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how it pans out, but we literally just started, but I'm really excited about it.
That is super exciting. What sort of change management practices are you using? That's a huge change, right? We talked about what learning used to look like and what it can look like now with personalized paths. How do you even plan for that sort of thing from a change management perspective, just to make sure that your frontline teams trust and adopt the AI recommended learning paths, for example? And how are you thinking also about ROI? You mentioned a few things in your last answer, not all data driven, but I'm curious how you're thinking about ROI.
Especially now when we see so many posts and newspaper articles about people losing jobs because of AI. You know, trust was the currency for us. That was really what we wanted to focus on because we didn't want our people to be afraid to use it or afraid to even admit to using it. So for us, it really was about safety, psychological safety. So we started really about making AI normal. We wanted people to feel comfortable saying, yep, I used AI to help draft that communication, or I used it to summarize a meeting. No shame, no secrecy. So we really tried, especially the executive team, to model transparency, right? Sharing when and how we've used AI, being open about what worked and what didn't. How are we normalizing experimentation? We also developed an internal change champions, right? A group of people who were naturally curious to pilot tools and bring back their experience to the team. So when their peers saw them using it, not just the people team, that's when adoption, I feel like, really took root. So it really was measuring two things for us. It was about capacity and culture, right? Is it saving one of our directors time in terms of coaching, right? That's ROI. And if it helps our people spend more time in human high value moments, that's important to us. And we know we're winning. So we're really trying to build that capacity but not replace connection. And we want everyone to feel safe that it's okay to use AI.
That's another thing we haven't talked about on the show before is that mentality that, some folks are using AI almost in secret, right? As if they present their work as being assisted by AI, that somehow they're like lesser than in what they've done versus making it safe by actually encouraging people to talk about that, where you would actually be seen as doing the right thing versus the wrong thing. Almost people view it as a cheat code that they wouldn't want to share with others, but instead, like, it can be a cheat code still, but one that we all should be using so that we can free up some time to do other things. I hear people talking about that a lot, is not wanting to present their work as having been like, how do I make it look like it wasn't AI? And it sounds like you're really doing some interesting work to keep people out of that sort of mentality.
Yes, because I think that, just think about it. If people believe, even for a second, that AI is coming for their jobs, adoption will fail. It doesn't matter how good the
100%.
tool is. It
Does
doesn't
not,
matter
I
how much
agree.
training you provide. People will resist, or they'll quietly sabotage or just refuse to engage. So we want people to feel like it's okay. You can. We want you to use that, and that you're safe in doing so.
That is fantastic. I am going to move us on to our lightning round, which is a section of quick hit questions that I would love your thoughts on. What is one misconception that you think HR leaders have about AI adoption?
Yeah, I think it goes back to our previous conversation. They think it's about the technology, right? I think the biggest misconception is thinking if you buy the right platform, AI adoption will magically happen. It won't. For us, I believe AI adoption is about trust, period.
Love it. What is one metric that you trust most when judging an AI pilot's success?
Let's say time to value. We're always talking about time to accept for offers or time to start. When I think about AI, I'm thinking time to value. How long does it take from implementation to when people actually say, this is helping me? So if my staff can't see the benefit within 30 days, not 6 months, not after the third training session, but 30 days, something is wrong, right? Either the tool is too complicated, it's solving the wrong problem, or you didn't invite the right people in choosing it. But they got to see some value in using the tool.
I think sometimes you get really short windows there too, right? Where certain tools can blow people's minds when they see something kind of transpire within an AI solution that would have taken them hours to do. Like, that is some serious time to value. This would have taken me a week, or it just took me 10 minutes to make sure the right inputs were there and the output is out the other side. So time to value is a really great concept, especially right now. So this is our little question we call keep one and drop the rest. So if you had to choose between platform consolidation or best in breed AI, which would you select and why?
I would choose the best of breed every single time. Integration is messy, but I think innovation lives in the mess. And I'd rather have one great tool that changes the game than 10 average ones that just check boxes. So I think that one size fits all never fits anyone well. So let's do and keep best of breed.
We are on the same team in that regard. It's a new day for integrations, right? It's not as hard as it once was, and being able to select the very best solutions to meet your needs is really critical. So I love that answer. So lots of great takeaways here, Angela. I did my best to try to boil it down. I actually loved, and you didn't say it this way, but it was like oozing from every answer that you gave, that you are thinking about creating amazing experiences, right? And so in the places where AI is creating efficiency and removing some of the mundane work from the team, I can hear in your answers that what you're thinking about is, how do we use that time that we've saved to create an amazing experience? So that was my umbrella takeaway, but I liked where we started, and I had noted really listening to people, right? So we do a lot of listening, but that also generates a lot of comments and material. what we were doing with that in the days before AI is taking too long to get back out with results and actions and so forth. So in the realm of surveys, like really being able to listen to people and take action fast. You said even within hours, right? So imagine going from months, right, to take action on surveys sometimes in large companies to hours. That's a huge shift. I loved the tagline, AI recommends and humans decide. Could not agree more. There is a place for all of us humans in this mix still, and we are the ones deciding and just using AI to help make great recommendations so we can decide quicker and better. So I loved that, and lots of great memorable thoughts from you. So the last one I had was trust is a currency, and trust is a currency specifically to encourage change adoption. So I loved your use of peer champions. I think that is great, right? People seeing colleagues using tools and then encouraging others to do the same. But I also think that was where we talked about making it normal, right? If AI helped you with this, share how AI helped you with this. That is a good thing. It's helping you be more efficient, helping you be better. You didn't do anything wrong. You didn't take like a cheat code that you shouldn't have taken. It's actually just making things better for you at work and helping you free up time for more important things as well. Thank you for all of that. We always like to leave our guests with the last word on piece of advice. So what is one piece of advice that you would offer to HR leaders who are maybe just starting out their AI journey?
That's such a good question. I would say lead with your people. We didn't get into HR to optimize systems. We got into it because we care about people. So before you do anything with AI, before you buy a platform, before you attend another conference, before you draft a policy, I would encourage you to ask yourself one question. Will this help me care for people better? So if you start there, then you're making sure that you're offering solutions, but keeping that connection with the people in your organization. And once you get that, then you ask another question, right? Where are you spending time on things that don't matter, right? You just take one pain point, just one, then find a tool that helps, right? Then you pilot it, you learn, you adjust, right? You share what you've learned, then you do it again. But you got to start by solving real problems for real people.
I agree. What a fantastic place to end. This was a fun conversation today. I am so glad that you came on. Thank you for joining me on the show, Angela.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for joining us on The Human Element, presented by Whisk. If you enjoyed this conversation, be sure to follow The Human Element wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Barb Biden. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.